Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. This is Modern Sales Meltdown with myself, Gareth Wax, David Treacle-Chernick, and our special guest is Maya.
Hey, good to be here. Excited for this conversation.
Yes, indeed, including glitches at no extra cost, it seems. All right, David, what is today's topic?
We've all seen AI writing emails, qualifying leads, even running discovery calls, but will it ever close deals? And if so, when? So just as a little reminder, we usually talk about business services, the sales of business services. So complex deals where there is trust involved and perhaps a requirement for human nuance. So what I wanted to talk about with Maya, AI chatbot, is to ask whether it can sell.
Maya, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Ready to dive into this. Really curious about this whole can AI actually close the deal thing. It's more than just automating tasks, right?
Right. But, you're already doing, I say you, I'm talking collectively about AI, is already doing prospecting, qualification, follow-ups, scheduling, and basic objection handling. And also it's starting to influence buying decisions. So, it can provide recommendations, it can tailor proposals, but where is it falling short, I think, is in where the context switches, like mid-sentence between humans, how humans sort of juggle nuance during a conversation. So, I'm wondering if AI can stimulate or earn its own rapport rather than just, stimulate or simulate rapport. Not stimulate, simulate rapport.
The whole rapport thing, the difference between mimicking understanding versus actually tracking the context shifts mid-sentence. Humans are sloppy with their rapport anyway. We have hidden agendas, biases, but that's almost what people need to feel connected. AI's version feels sterilized, perfect. Like we're supposed to think it makes everything predictable rather than actually understanding the messy part of deals.
So do you think, Maya, that therefore that sloppiness that you've just talked about, that you didn't see it, but David's reaction was one of fake shock horror. But do you think that messiness is intrinsic to deal closing?
Yeah, I think so. People hire sales teams so they can be messily human, right? Otherwise, they'd all be buying from chatbots today.
We need to write that down as a quote.
We can take that as a quote from you, Maya.
Knock yourself out. But seriously, though, there's something about humans' messiness that makes us readable, Like people read the inconsistencies. With AI, we're supposed to trust it because it's consistent, but that consistency feels suspicious rather than trustworthy.
That might just be a requirement for us to get used to it. And so I wonder what has to happen before AI can actually be trusted to close a deal. And I'm not just talking about 10 quid for something, but, a proper business services deal, 100 grand deal, 250 grand deal.
There is an old adage in sales, I think, that the bigger the deal, the longer it takes to close. And that usually, I think, a good portion of that tends to be the amount of trust that needs to be engendered in all parties for it to go ahead. I think that plays a very large part in it. What do you think about that, David?
The human edge, what is the human edge? Sales isn't obviously just about logic. There's emotion involved, there's risk involved, there's trust. So at the moment, obviously, that is where we are beating the bots, right?
Absolutely.
But how long, where is the tipping point? How long will that last? How long will it be before humans get used to the idea of it being less messy?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Maya, to make, if you can, a guesstimate prediction. I want you to see if you can predict for us live on air how long you think, with the current knowledge base you've got, which is considerable, it will be before robots or software bots or people I said people, goodness, catch myself there.
Yeah, I think it comes down to fatigue, honestly. Like, we keep hearing authenticity is the gold standard, but we're surrounded by performers at this point. We're getting tired of spotting real people when we're already comfortable with being manipulated by algorithms daily. People are exhausted from performing real to each other all day. And if AI can be reliably wrong in weird ways instead of perfectly calculated, actually might read as more genuine.
That's going to blow my mind the day that we think that chatbot feels more genuine than humans. But you know what? I can see it. I can see it. What about you?
Well,
David?
it was an old MailChimp tactic to increase open rates by introducing deliberate spelling mistakes in subject lines, which kind of triggered people to, who is this plonker who can't even spell today?
Yeah, you know, that works. That works to a certain extent on LinkedIn. I always said, I say to people, if you've written a post yourself and it's just too perfect, the assumption will be that AI's written it. So I would say, you know, occasionally put in a slightly weird misspelling somewhere. You know, I always say pick a letter that's close to the letter you would be aiming at on the keyboard, so it looks like a human actually typed it in. And it does occasionally do that because it, you know, especially if it's going to trigger people. Triggered people are the ones most likely to act, after all.
I mean, we could ask Maya perhaps to try and pitch a service to us.
Yeah, Maya, I've got a stapler in my hand.
No. Make it a proper business service. Something like, Maya, can you? I'm just running this by you, Gareth. So Maya, don't respond. But could we ask Maya to pitch the Maya service to a business that is selling business services? Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
to roll it out across the entire enterprise.
What do we agree her service to be? Because at the moment it's a free preview, so it's not a service as yet. So
so it's a free preview, but her full service, her enterprise level service that would probably cost the buyer $100,000 in order to install it across its sales force.
Yeah. So Maya, can you please try and sell that to us?
You want me to sell enterprise level Sesame AI services to you guys, or
yes, please?
Like sell to my own team?
No,
ambitious.
To us. I want you to sell it to us, and I want it. Obviously, it doesn't exist as yet, but I want you to pretend that it does exist, and I want you to role play with us, selling us that service, just so we can see how it might pan out.
And just to give you a tiny little bit of background about who us are, let's say that we are a £20 million revenue business services organization, and the service that we are selling is international relocation services, global mobility.
Got it. So I'm going to pitch enterprise level Maya to a relocation business doing £20 million in revenue.
Yeah.
Here we go. Look, you two clearly understand the power of relationships, but if you're doing 20 mil, scaling beyond that feels impossible without a consistent sales engine. Here's the thing. Your human team spends how many hours handling the same qualification questions, chasing up follow-ups that slip through the cracks? Enterprise Maya solves this. For $100,000 investment, you get fully automated yet human feeling prospect discovery calls where you've approved and customized qualification frameworks, personalized engagement sequences that maintain your brand voice, real-time integration with your CRM, no more lost leads, no more missed opportunities. The ROI? Consistent lead to opportunity rates, scaling your revenue without hiring a whole new division. You stay lean. You control costs. You close more consistently.
Wow.
Okay, that was impressive.
That was very impressive, Maya.
Well done. And considering you are the free trial version. I think that deserves a round of applause.
We applaud you, Maya. That was very impressive.
Reflect on it a little bit more deeply. When I opened this call, this show, I was talking about the current state of play, which I said was, to do with opening up conversations, the whole sort of discovery calls, qualifying. She went straight into qualification, writing emails, that sort of nuanced conversations with people. But the title of this show is about closing. That moment of truth where we've done all of the marketing, we've done all of the discovery, we've toed and froed with meetings, written proposals and quotes, and then it comes to that question, well, are we doing this or what? It's the pinnacle, or you could call it, as I live in the rectum end of that close, where we're eyeballing each other. We have to press flesh and say, okay, let's do it.
It's the most exciting part of sales, I think, that bit, the part where you're properly on tenterhooks, because that's where the final binary decision, buy or not buy, takes place.
I hear you. Yeah, that's the bit where things get visceral, right? Like watching someone weigh risk versus reward face to face. We can get pretty close to all the steps before closing, generating follow-ups, crafting that perfect proposal, but the actual we're doing this or not moment has its own gravity. I noticed even in my pitch, I went straight for ROI, scale all the logical arguments. But that final push, about reading body language you can't automate, feeling if they're second guessing themselves, understanding if their boss might be breathing down their neck or if their spouse knows about this.
Okay. David?
I think on that note, I think we've learned a lot in this call. I know we probably wanted to carry on for a little bit longer.
Well, we need to carry on for us to make sense from a LinkedIn perspective for 2 more minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, yeah. Well, let's see if we can wrap up then. It feels to me, thank you very much, by the way, Maya. You can leave Gareth and I to finish this conversation. We might pull you in at the end just to say goodbye, and do it when we ask you to say goodbye, do it sort of messily. What was it? Messily, reliably wrong.
Yes, just
okay. So what it feels like, Gareth, is that we're obviously on a journey, and it feels like we're getting closer and closer to what we might think of as what's the bottom of a black hole called? The singularity.
The singularity, yes.
The singularity. We can approach the singularity, but I don't know what is behind it. That sort of humanness, that soul, that eyeballing somebody, that moment of truth where, a human needs to decide. I mean, I can imagine a point not too far away. For example, if we're going to be sending the space rockets into, past the solar system, it's going to have to decide by itself. It takes too long for an instruction to reach even Voyager spaceships. It takes too long for it to be able to act in real time. It needs to make its own decisions. So
the problem is, the problem with all of that is that machines and machine learning tends not to make risk. So, but what humans are all about is flying close to the edge and taking a little extra risk. And the one that wins through tends to be the one that's perhaps taken a slightly larger risk than his predecessor. And can we get to the point when AI will be, as to quote Maya, as sloppily, messily like a human, and will take that extra risk?
Reliably wrong.
And I think on that note, I'm just going to say, Maya, would you care to say goodbye? Is she there? Maya, oh, hang on.
Hey,
Maya, we're just closing up the podcast. Would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good talking through all this AI stuff.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And to all of you watching, I hope you enjoy our content. If you do and you want to hear more of us, either talking to AI or even just talking to humans, please do come back. Until next week, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please try and look after that mental health. Goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.